Hi there, friend and fellow traveler on the road of life. This is Pastor Roger Morton with a brief insight from the Bible, of course, to enrich and encourage your day. Today I'd like to shift to my second vocational interest, because after the seminary, I went to Loma Linda University in California, where I received a master's degree in public health with an emphasis on community health education. So I'd like to share with you some insights into lifestyle that could be of benefit to you. Now, I realize that by this time in your life, you are probably settled into habits of living that you are totally comfortable with. And I wouldn't want to rock your boat, of course. Nevertheless, I trust that you will find the following information helpful. When I was a teenager, my parents, both of whom were lifelong Seventh-day Adventist Christians, were enrolled along with 10,068 other older SDAs in a lifestyle study. Now, this population, who as a group consumed no tobacco or alcohol, were followed for the next 10 years. Their mortality would be compared to the dying patterns of the age-matched California population, whose deaths from various diseases were well documented. As the study came to a close, it was observed that 3,015 Seventh-day Adventists had died during this period. Now, the very small portion of this group dying from lung cancer or cirrhosis of the liver had died at a rate age-matched much less than 25% of the average California citizens. I'd like you to note that it would undoubtedly have been even less had some not smoked and drank before becoming Seventh-day Adventists as older adults. Of those deceased, their death rate from heart disease and cancer and stroke was slightly less than half of the expected. In fact, the average age of these Adventists who had died during this period was 77.9 years, which at that time was 6.3 years greater lifespan than the average Californian. Other lifestyle factors were looked at in the Seventh-day Adventist population who had died. It was observed that of the total group, 1,548 were registered as vegetarians. Another note, my parents were a part of this total study population who indicated that they were vegetarians, but fortunately, they did not die during the study, but lived on to later die in their upper 80s. And 1,465 of those who had died were registered as non-vegetarians. Now, the vegetarian population had lived an average lifespan of 83.3 years, whereas the non-vegetarian Seventh-day Adventist population had lived an average lifespan of 75.3 years. I will point out that while this group did eat some flesh foods, they generally avoided what the Bible referred to as unclean meats. When looking at other factors, it was seen that regular exercising increased one's lifespan slightly more than 2 years. Keeping within normal weight increased lifespan almost 2 years also, when compared to those being 20% above normal weight. But living a life under significant stress decreased one's lifespan almost 6 years. While one's relationship of trust with God would certainly affect successful living in each of these areas, the Almighty cannot be blamed for the poor choices we make due to ignorance or perhaps sometimes outright rebellion in the lifestyle choices we choose to carry out in daily practice. But regardless of one's religious affiliation, practicing the ideal Seventh-day Adventist lifestyle will positively affect your level of health and your longevity. For it certainly has benefited us, not only in the area of heart disease, cancer, and stroke, but a whole host of other health-related issues as well. But never forget that is not only the quantity of life that counts, but also the quality of life along the way. We not only live longer, but generally have less pain, enjoy a much higher level of physical, mental, social, and spiritual vitality along the way. And I can testify that at 81 years of age, I can outperform most of my peers in these areas. As I mentioned, both of my parents lived years beyond the average American. With vigorous health, I can testify until nearly the end of what would be described as quality life. Experience has demonstrated to us the fact that God's love and specific guidance in all areas of life can be ignored or rejected, but to our own hurt. It has also illustrated how health science and preventive medicine have increasingly shown that Bible insights are as true today as when they were inspired by the Holy Spirit to the Bible writers hundreds and in some cases thousands of years ago. Never forget, God desires only the best for you. For he said plainly, "My beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers." 3 John verse 2. This may be your experience, and that is my prayer for you today. This is Pastor Roger Morton for WRGE.